Fort Myers, Florida. A haven of sun-kissed beaches and swaying palm trees. A place where the gentle waves kiss the shore, and the sunsets paint the sky in hues of orange and pink. A place where life seemed idyllic, a postcard of paradise. Families strolled along the beach, children played in the sand, and the community thrived in the warmth of the sun. But even in paradise, darkness can lurk. Beneath the surface of this tranquil town, shadows began to form, casting a pall over the sunny facade. In the 1990s, a storm gathered in this tropical paradise, a storm fueled by teenage angst, rebellion, and a thirst for chaos. The skies darkened, and the once peaceful streets became a battleground for troubled youth. This is the story of the Lords of Chaos, a group of young men who traded their innocence for a taste of power, leaving a trail of fear and destruction in their wake. Led by the charismatic but dangerous Kevin Foster, the group harbored extremist ideologies. Foster, with his troubled past and a fascination with violence, exerted a powerful influence over other teenagers, including Pete Magnotti, Chris Black, and Derek Shields, who became key members of the Lords of Chaos. Their reign of terror began subtly, almost imperceptibly, like a whisper in the wind. Small acts of mischief that seemed harmless at first, but soon escalated into something far more dangerous. Mischief soon spiraled into something far more sinister. The community watched in horror as the actions of these teenagers grew bolder and more violent. The Lords of Chaos began with vandalism, breaking windows and spray-painting graffiti, but their crimes quickly escalated. They attempted to burn a church bus, a disturbing act targeting a place of worship, demonstrating a growing disregard for societal norms. Their cruelty extended to animal life when they set fire to a bird cage, tragically resulting in the death of one of the birds. This act further revealed the group's detachment from empathy and their escalating disregard for life. The group's most notorious crime occurred on April 30, 1996, when they brutally murdered Mark Schweebs, a Riverdale High School band director. Schweebs had caught the group vandalizing the school and threatened to report them. In retaliation, Foster and his accomplices shot Schweebs at his home, a cold-blooded act that shocked the community. The idyllic facade of Fort Myers would be shattered, revealing the fragility of peace and the darkness that can fester beneath the surface. The town would never be the same again, forever marked by the shadows that once lurked in its midst. At the heart of this storm was Kevin Foster, a young man with a troubled past and a hunger for control. Born into a world that seemed to reject him at every turn, Kevin's early years were marked by a series of unfortunate events. His family life was chaotic and school offered no refuge. Instead, it became a battleground where he fought for survival, both physically and emotionally. Foster, with his piercing gaze and brooding intensity, exerted a magnetic pull over his peers. His eyes seemed to hold a promise of something more, something beyond the mundane existence that trapped them all. He was a natural leader, but his leadership was rooted in a deep-seated anger and frustration. He was the undisputed leader of the Lords of Chaos, a self-styled militia group formed in 1996 in Fort Myers, Florida. His charisma was a dangerous weapon that fueled their descent into madness. His ability to inspire and manipulate was unparalleled, turning a group of disillusioned teens into a force to be reckoned with. They followed him not out of loyalty but out of a shared sense of desperation and a desire to belong. The group, drawn together by a shared sense of alienation and boredom, found solace in their shared rebellion. They were united by their disdain for authority and their yearning for freedom, no matter the cost. Their bond was forged in the fires of their collective discontent, making them inseparable. They were the outcasts, the misfits who sought refuge in their self-created world of anarchy. In their eyes, society had failed them, and they saw no future within its confines. Their rebellion was not just an act of defiance, but a cry for help, a desperate attempt to carve out a space where they could exist on their own terms. Little did they know that their games would have devastating consequences, forever altering the lives of many, including their own. What started as a quest for identity and belonging quickly spiraled out of control, leading to actions that could never be undone. The Lords of Chaos embarked on a spree of criminal activities, including arson, vandalism, and other violent acts. The path they chose was fraught with peril, and the price they paid was unimaginable. In a chilling display of their twisted ideology, the Lords of Chaos mirrored the Oklahoma City bombing by attempting to bomb the historic Coca-Cola bottling plant. This act of terrorism, inspired by extremist ideologies, sent shockwaves through the community. The group's criminal activities extended beyond acts of violence. They attempted to rob a Hardee's restaurant, showcasing their growing ambitions and disregard for the law. They also successfully robbed the Alva Diner, further demonstrating their criminal intent. A crucial turning point came when Craig Lesh, a hanger-on of the group, confided in his ex-girlfriend, Julie Schuchard. On May 2nd, Lesh revealed to Schuchard that the Lords of Chaos had murdered Mark Schweebs, a Riverdale high school band director. He claimed to have been present at the scene and had even knocked on Schweebs' door. Troubled by this confession, Schuchard decided to contact the authorities. Their early acts were mere pranks, acts of vandalism that seemed harmless enough. They were just kids, after all, looking for a way to express their rebellion against a world they felt misunderstood them. Spray-painted graffiti marred the pristine walls of Fort Myers. The colorful tags were a stark contrast to the otherwise clean and orderly town, a silent scream for attention. Small thefts, acts of defiance against authority, fueled their sense of invincibility. Each stolen item was a trophy, a symbol of their growing boldness and disregard for the rules. But with each act, the thrill waned, and the need for something more, something darker, grew. The excitement of petty crimes was fleeting, leaving them craving a deeper rush. The escalation was gradual, almost imperceptible at first. What started as minor mischief slowly evolved into something more sinister, as their ambitions grew. But the seeds of malice had been sown. Their plans became more elaborate, their actions more calculated, as they sought to push the boundaries further. The group's hunger for chaos, for power, could no longer be satiated by petty crimes. They wanted to make a statement, to leave a mark that couldn't be ignored. They craved more. They craved fear. The thrill of causing fear in others became their new addiction, a dark desire that consumed them, and they would soon get it. The stage was set for their most audacious act yet, one that would change everything. On May 3rd, Schuchard informed the police about Lesh's disturbing revelation. This crucial information not only led to the investigation into Mark Schweebs' murder but also uncovered the group's plans for an armed robbery at the Hardee's restaurant where Magnotti and Shields worked. Following Schuchard's testimony, detectives questioned Craig Lesh. While Lesh admitted to being involved in the group, he clarified that he had not been present during the murder of Mark Schweebs. However, his information led to the discovery of the group's responsibility for the Coca-Cola bottling plant bombing. This crucial information led to the swift arrest of the group's key members, including Kevin Foster, Pete Magnotti, Chris Black, and Derek Shields, as they were apprehended while on their way to carry out the planned robbery at the Hardee's restaurant. The community was left reeling from this senseless act of violence. The murder of Mark Schweebs shattered the sense of safety and security that had previously defined Fort Myers. The police investigation that followed was intense, meticulously piecing together the puzzle of the Lords of Chaos and their crimes. Kevin Foster, the ringleader, was eventually apprehended and sentenced to death for the murder of Mark Schweebs. He has since exhausted his appeals and remains on death row. Pete Magnotti and Chris Black also faced legal consequences for their involvement in the group's criminal activities. The case of the Lords of Chaos serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked violence and the destructive influence of extremist ideologies. It also highlights the importance of addressing the factors that can lead young people down a dark path, including the influence of charismatic but dangerous individuals. This heinous act was the culmination of their escalating violence, a tragic end to their spree of terror. The town of Fort Myers would never be the same again.